Welcome to the College of Wealth podcast, the ultimate financial guide to help you understand your financial stresses and how you can build from it. Your lessons won't be in class, and your projects can either save you or earn you money. We host episodes 2 times a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays to help you reach your financial freedom. Now let's get started with your hosts, Owen, Paradis, and William Goulet.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. My name is Owen Paradis. I'm here with my co-host, William Goulet. We're proud to present to you the College of Wealth podcast.
Podcast.
Yes.
I brought back the echo.
Perfect. This is a College of Wealth podcast that teaches you the latest and greatest about money, because at the end of the day, this is a crazy money-making world.
Yes, the latest and greatest everything, including how crazy it is, and including how to make money in this world.
Exactly. And because of exactly that, because it is a crazy money-making world, and we like to discuss it on this podcast, we do like to identify that that this is for entertainment. It is for entertainment purposes only here.
Yes, and I have a note about that, about entertainment. I think that it reduces the value. that might actually reduce the value of our proposition to our viewers, to our listeners. Hello, YouTube. Hello, Spotify. Hello, Apple Podcasts. No, that it might actually reduce the value of what we're saying that we're offering. And
True.
I think we should include information as part of that, because it is part of our value proposal. So maybe if we use a cliche, how would you say that? Oh, one of those words where it's gimmicky sounding word, but that truly describes what we are. I was thinking something like infotainment. What do you think?
I was waiting for you to say something infoplanement or something.
You know what? I think we had enough of a good start that I didn't need to bring it back up.
All right, but I do agree with you. Infotainment is an awesome way to say it, because here at the College of Wealth podcast, we do like to inform our listeners just on just a lot of content. It's not BS, the things that we talk about. But because we're talking about money, we do like to advise everyone that both Will nor myself are not financial advisors by any means whatsoever.
Certainly not me anyways, Owen.
I'm not either. But
True.
We both have a bachelor's degree in business. I work in finance. Will works in marketing. We just are really passionate about this kind of stuff. We've been breathing this kind of stuff since we were kids.
Our interest is, as we like to say, valid. Now, we like to say that, but not just in any way. Specifically in the Gen Z way.
Yes, exactly. But we also have 2 other reasons why we do this podcast. There are 2 critical reasons as to why we do this podcast. And I'd like for Will to go and address those reasons to our listeners once again.
I'd love to jump in, and thanks for passing it over. You know how it is. We all have our goals. We're young ones. What are we told? Save money, guys. Save money. Because every dollar that you earn today, can be invested forward to grow into something huge.
For sure.
Growing money, you say? How do you grow money? Well, it's one of those ways that you can earn a little bit extra by investing in the market, by making smart purchases. In other words, we love to make money.
Money.
Thank you very much.
But it is totally true here, and because you set it up beforehand, I got to go and also say that if you haven't done so and you like the content, I always say give us a 5-star review, but only do it if you actually really enjoy the content. But
absolutely,
honestly, it'd be greatly appreciated. Apple or Spotify, we're on both platforms. Stitcher, I don't even know if Stitcher has a rating system, but if they do, please give us a 5-star review. And if you are a visual person and you like to see the animation or just Will and I's reactions, expressiveness, go and check us out on YouTube. Subscribe to us, like and comment. It'd be greatly appreciated. Or if you want to check out our content, you can also check it out on Instagram or on TikTok. Lots of different ways of doing it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so nice. We talk about how we learn at work and, how to position ourselves and how to market things. A great thing is we'd love to ask for a 5-star rating. However, if there's something that we do that wouldn't let you it wouldn't make you comfortable giving us a 5-star rating, let us know ahead of time so we can rectify the issue and then deserve that 5-star rating,
Yes.
And that's what the feedback's all about, and leaving comments on stuff. We're curious what you think and how to get better.
100%. We're always trying to better the podcast, so any type of feedback is always greatly appreciated, in all honesty.
Doubt.
So without further ado, we got to jump into episode 137.
Nice.
The toxicity of the hustle culture.
Okay. Toxicity. I look forward to hearing about.
Yes. And I find it's something very important to address in general. The way we're going to have it is we're going to have 3 different points or 3 different segments discussing about why the hustle culture is basically is toxic.
Okay.
Can be toxic, I should say.
Sure.
And
because there's good sides, right?
Yeah, for sure. But
Okay.
we're not here to talk about the good sides because 99% of people already know what the good sides of the hustle is.
And people engage more with negative perceptions.
Exactly.
So we're taking one episode where we're digging in. Let's go.
Also, our last point is how to hustle in a safe way as well.
Hustle in a safe way. I like that. Sweet.
Yes. So now that we got I guess you could say housekeeping out of the way.
Yeah.
I finally managed to spit that one out. We're going to jump into our statistics. We always have our stats.
Statman, of course.
And this one's going to be a mix of side gigs because I could only find for side hustling.
Okay.
But side gigs and also burnout.
Oh, yes. Burnout. Yeah.
So the first thing, what percentage of people have quit their jobs due to burning out or feeling burnt out? This is like the highest demographic are millennials have quit their job due to burnout. What percentage of them have actually quit their job due to it?
I'd say just wait until Gen Z gets in there. But anyways, I would say the highest demographic, millennials, quit at a 27% rate.
Just under 50%.
Whoa!
Every other
Holy
generation was around 42%.
Oh, so okay. First of all, the gap isn't as high as I thought between generations.
Not at all.
But
no.
Everyone's at a much higher level than I thought, so it's a bit concerning, I guess.
Yes, but what is extremely concerning is I'll make you guess what sector has the highest burnout rate.
Finance.
No. Hospitality.
Oh, okay, yes.
Yes,
No,
so
that
I'm
makes
not
sense.
laughing. Yeah, the highest burnout rate is the hospitality sector. Did you want to take a wild guess at what their burnout rate is?
Higher than 42%. 63%.
80%.
Holy crap.
80% burnout rate.
Now,
with the
just to make sure,
hospitality.
hospitality industry, we're talking restaurants, we're talking bars, we're talking hotels, and then maybe other nightlife type places.
I'm not entirely sure what section of hospitality would. I honestly thought, but I originally thought the healthcare sector, but hospitality would be exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I think healthcare. I think that's the our French side coming out again with hospital and hôpital or maybe it isn't the French side. Anyways, I've always seen hospitality as those. I there might be more to it than what I'm thinking though.
Hotel food services and hospitality 80.3% according to Statista. Manufacturing comes in at second at 77.4%. Medical and healthcare coming in at 76.8%. Education at 76.1%.
I think hospitality is known for having, relatively lower wage and being highly customer service focused.
Yes.
And
For sure.
There's a big difference between, let's say, B2B customer service and B2C, direct-to-consumer customer service. Huge
difference.
As soon as you get into B2B, people are start being more polite. They might have light disagreements with you, but it's never, this is stupid and I'm going
to try and fire you and can I speak to your manager? And it's like, no, there's none of that stuff. Because at the same time, B2B, which is business to business, they got their business reputation on the line. Yeah,
exactly. Hospitality has a lot more direct to consumer, which is when you see the level and the intimidation of the threats or the complaints from customers can be
very
higher. Higher stakes.
So now, this is an interesting statistic. It's about the last two are about side gigs. Which sex actually spends more time on their side hustle?
Women.
Men.
Okay. I thought okay. Right on.
And how many more hours do men spend more a week on their side hustle?
8 hours.
8 hours. No. That would be an extra. No, it's 2 point. Yeah, it's a work day. What are the women doing on their side hustles if the men are doing 8 extra hours?
Well, I was thinking the women were working more on their side hustles.
True, so that's a good point.
But you're asking the wrong person, I guess.
Men spend about 2.3 extra hours a week on their side hustle.
Interesting. Well, it's true that just a little bit adds to so much more. They say that at work, too. Working 10% more at work gives you around a 40% return on the time that you spent.
Interesting.
Which means, and that's not just in direct compensation. It also goes like things in business trips, promotion opportunities, etc.
So our last stat is actually about the side hustle as well. What percentage of Gen Z have a side hustle?
I'm guessing 20%. 20%.
What? Was my screw up that funny?
Huh? Yeah, I just disproportionately find screw ups funny.
Okay.
Yeah. But, no. 20% of Gen Z has a side hustle.
No. 70% of Gen Z have a side hustle. Or Gen Z to the 70%? Normal people.
70%, that sounds extremely high. But,
I think so too, but you don't know. Yeah,
kudos to Gen Z.
So now that we got our statistics put aside here, we're going to be talking about the toxicity of the hustle culture. And I find this is really important to our listeners. And you're still not over this small mistake. What is so funny about Gen G and Gen Z? Might as well put a freaking podium or a mic in front of me here because, my God, I'm a freaking comedian.
And I'm the whole audience.
Yeah, my God. The dude is crying. Like, to our listeners, Will is literally crying right now over the Gen G mistake that I made here.
It's always been like that for me, where the smallest slip up, I go and I try to hold back. Actually, this gives me a great idea for a TikTok.
Why?
Man, I can't control it, frankly.
Okay.
But anyways, I do agree with you. It was a small mistake, and I laughed a lot at it.
We have spent 1 minute of this episode so far just listening to you laughing over Gen G and Gen Z.
I'm trying to stay quiet so that the podcast can keep going. As soon as you call me out, it's... I don't stand a chance, man. Not a chance.
Oh, my God.
Whew.
All right. Well, now that we caught that, the statistics,
it's out of the
way.
way.
Hilarious statistics. godlike in terms of comedy. Kevin Hart has no chance on this here.
No chance in hell. No chance.
We got to go and talk about the toxicity of the hustle culture.
Yes, let's do that.
So
Of the co-host culture.
I just feel like I'm getting the toxicity thrown back at me here.
I think you might be. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, hustle culture, toxicity.
So the first thing we got to talk about is the work-life balance is not being existent for a lot of these people.
Oh, true. Yeah.
I know so many people out there who are, whether it be starting their job, new managers or something like that, who are really just trying to put their name in the business itself, and they're going to put 50, 60, 70 hours a week, and they're getting paid for 40 hours. And
True.
The one trait I have to say is, while everyone is building a life, you're building your work life.
And that's such an interesting thing. CEO for a company that I was working with one of the best advice they were given is, if you don't schedule your personal life in like you schedule your work life, you'll never have one. And it truly great advice for someone who's going up in the corporate culture.
Corporate ladder.
Yeah, ladder. That's right.
Well, that's what ends up happening. And I actually know a few people who are managers, like they're older than us.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're in their 40s or 50, like I would say 40s. Usually in your 40s, that's where you get into the managerial roles in more corporate positions. And they have to go and say, like, they have to take trips completely, like where they're completely away from their phone or anything, just so they're able to disconnect completely. And that is how like, I guess you could say, addicted they are to sustaining the job itself. And that's almost sad.
Well, I've had a similar experience where I was in a position. They put me in a position where it was a growth position, and I wasn't quite qualified to be in that specific role. But it's to grow all those capacities, and it is truly where you grow.
Yeah.
Now, for me to break even, I was having to put a lot more time. I won't name hours, just for the sake of it. But I was putting a lot more time than a regular work week. And in this case, I wasn't getting compensated more for it. But I was getting compensated in my ability to learn and to have this experience that would probably not be offered to me. So there's different types of compensation. Yes. And in this case, it almost was like a side hustle because I had no obligation to do it. But I was doing it just to cover this whole other aspect of the job that I would need to get done. And just grow because of that, So,
for sure.
Yeah.
So here's a question for you, Will. This is like I'm gonna say my take afterwards.
Sure.
But what is your opinion on people flaunting working a lot of hours a week?
I think they're. I don't buy it. I don't buy those hours. That's my immediate take.
Okay.
And I'm more impressed with the output of work. Than the amount of hours put in. I've always thought that was a flaw in our society, is that we count things by hour. And I'm like, I don't buy that you are working all that time.
It depends who you are. It depends on who you are. Go and say that to a nurse.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough, I guess. But I mean, if we're talking more of the entrepreneur types, I don't necessarily always buy it. How much of that was a work lunch? Is work lunch work?
Well, this is what makes me laugh.
Yeah.
You see people who are like nurses and doctors and people like that, and they're not, when they go and say they work 60, 70 hours a week, they're mad about it. Versus, and you have the other side, oh, well, I work 60 hours a week, and they're flaunting it. And it's like, I feel bad for you. I did the same work that you did in 40 hours, but it took you 60 hours.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think that's why looking at the output is so interesting. It's so much more interesting than putting in the hours, because, man, I don't agree that it's a fair measurement at all.
Yeah, and that's actually another point I want to talk about is just because others are working till like 10 p.m. doesn't mean that you have to yourself.
Yes.
If you are putting in the right amount of work and you're managing your time, not saying that people aren't managing their time well, but you can work until 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. if you want. You don't have to work and spend 12-hour, 14-hour days. I've known some people who've literally said, you know what, I have something that's due on Monday. Well, I'm just going to get it done and over with. Well, I'm going to work Friday until midnight. I mean, you could get it done and over with if you want, but how did you end up to this position where it's due, like, to that point?
And some people truly is like that, where it's procrastination, and then they'll just do it last minute.
Yep.
And they'll just put in the hours, and I guess you can do that. That's fine. But as far as best practice goes, I don't know. Maybe a little bit of planning's in order, you know.
Well, and also, like, I guess it could also indicate that being over, like, when you're being overworked, that can also add to more stress, and actually that in turn causes you to be less productive.
Yeah, and we were talking Tuesday about spotting opportunity. If you're consistently doing 60-hour weeks, maybe it's an opportunity for you to go to your boss and say what? And say, hey, look, I'd love to create a team to support this workload. And, you know, for those who are interested, it might be a great opportunity for you to actually go and start getting direct reports and, you know, create a team, really.
Yeah, no, I like that thought process. It's interesting. And then they'll quickly go and say, well, it's not in the budget. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But it shows you how valuable you are to the company. But on the same token, it also it helps you out too, in that sense. But
and it shows commitment as well.
For sure, I guess for every point, for every segment, I also have a way to tackle this.
Oh, nice.
So in regards to the work-life balance, it's also really important to learn to be accessible for your work. Yet you have to learn to be accessible to everyone else in your friends and family.
Yes.
You said it yourself. If you're making yourself accessible to your job and only your job, then you're not going to be accessible to the rest of your life.
It's true, and that's at a big cost, especially once you're getting close to retirement. It's a little bit too late to start clawing back friendships.
Yes, I honestly
similar to how if you only prioritize your life. Well, it's hard to secure yourself a financial future for retirement once you're starting at 60 to claw back work, you know.
Well, I remember seeing a video. This must have been I would have said a few weeks ago, but it was an NHL player who was saying they were asking him about how it is, like how he's enjoying the NHL, and he says it's good, like he enjoys it. But he says it sucks at the same time, though, because he says, I have no work life. He says, my life is hockey. He says, I'm traveling all the time. He says, I have a 2-year-old at home. He says, he says, I've had to watch my 2-year-old daughter grow over FaceTime.
Dude, and who was asking him this?
There's a reporter or something like that.
Okay. Because I don't know if you saw a Bert Kreischer clip. He's a comedian, Bert Kreischer, and he was saying the exact same thing. And it was just two guys having an honest conversation, two dads.
I think it could have been very similar. I don't know if it was a reporter or something like that. Yeah.
He said, he's like, I wanted to ask you, Bert, how do you do it? Because I've been watching, just like you said. My daughter grew up over FaceTime, and I'm the only one who's not there, and you know I'm the only dad who's not there. And then Buddy on the other side, he's like, I can't tell you, it gets easier. And he's there, he's got his drink in his hand. He's like, how do I deal with it? Look, I'm here drinking at 11 in the morning. He's like, it's not easy at all. It's.
I think we're thinking of the same video. It could have been that. But what I didn't like was the comments. People are saying, "Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river with your millions of dollars."
Oh,
and it's
my
like,
goodness.
Money does not replace family.
Yeah, nothing ever will.
No, exactly. So, I mean, that's how insensitive people are, these keyboard warriors. So I have to say it. It goes to the same thing for managers, for supervisors, for employees.
Yeah.
Time does not replace, like, you can't replace the hours that you miss with your family.
The same way that there's toxicity on the side of hustle culture, there could also be toxicity on the other side against hustle culture as well. So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
I think a nice point to touch is that there's toxicity on both sides.
For
but
sure.
just because you're aiming high with hustle culture doesn't mean it's all roses and rainbows as well, though.
Exactly. And for that, we jump into our second segment, and it's actually about burnout. And we're talking about it at the beginning here. But your chances of burnout in the hustle culture are extremely high.
True.
Forbes has indicated that 23% of people have indicated that they burn out very often, or they're almost always burning out.
Wow.
And Deloitte said that 77% of people have admitted to have burnt out at their current position.
Oh my goodness. That is rough, man.
It is very rough. But that is exactly, like, it's so interesting because we got two sides. We got the hustle culture ideology that's been here for a long time, and it's still rampant. And then we also have the silent quitting community that's growing as well. And I see the news reports that are dissing the silent quitters, saying, fine, we're going to silent fire you guys as well, which is an idea, which is true. But to a working company, they love the hustle culture, because it brings them more money, more bang for their buck.
I have to ask, Owen, and it's
Yes.
it won't be easy to answer, but I'm curious what you think.
Yes.
How much do you think there are more burnouts today than there were before? And
oh my
if you were
God,
to,
yes.
And if you were to give a split, like a responsibility split, what responsibility is it that the jobs get harder and more specific to solve more tailored problems than before? And how much of it is people that are less... I'll just say it like that, and, forgive me if I use the wrong words. People are less competent or less able to deal with stress as they were before. What do you think the split is between the two that causes more burnouts?
I think ease of access of information is a big point of stress for a lot of people.
Okay.
So the internet and things like that, people can connect. My phone, connected to work. A lot of people have their emails connected to their phones, have Teams connected. So even though you're working, like even though you're done working, you can still get emails and messages around the clock. I literally put a timer, like messages and emails. Anything past 5:30, I don't want I don't get any notifications. I finish at 4:30.
So you give an hour of leeway, like if need be, fine. Yeah, sure.
And then as for the mornings, I start at 7:30. Nothing before 7 a.m.
Sure, makes sense.
And that point there, like I want to be eating breakfast or I'm working out. I don't need emails coming in or someone messaging me at 6:30 in the morning because they're stressed out. That's just going to give me extra stress at that point.
So you think that's the leading reason why is the constant connectivity to work?
So I think that's one of the major factors, and an overdependence on management, and management with not enough reliance of their team.
Whoa. Okay, like they're not distributing tasks enough?
Yeah, so you have management that's covering management. There's a lot of management that want to be involved with everything, making sure that all their ducks in a row, which is totally fair. But on the same time, there's very little reliance on the employee itself. And as for that, the employee in turn has to rely more on the management to go and approve of everything to make sure that everything is perfect. Adding a cycle of people who are going to be constantly stressed of perfectionism or time management, and then you have management that are constantly strapped for evaluating everything. So that's why you get your managers who have like 40 meetings a week which are basically just there to go and say, "Yeah, this is good. I approve," and done.
Mm-hmm.
And whereas employees are there and they're like, we have to go and get everyone to approve of this. Meanwhile, 10 years ago, they were doing the same thing, but they didn't have to.
Interesting. They're less empowered.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. I don't know if I'm lucky. You're talking about the connection. The company that I work for, I have my own work phone and my own work laptop. Okay. So I'm able to make that disconnect is completely simple. And my phone is still 100% my phone.
Very
Nothing
cool.
work-related on there.
Yes.
So maybe I'm just fortunate, but that's a great point.
Yeah, exactly. And people sometimes make it connected to their own lifestyle, and that's a big issue.
True.
And the other issue behind it is the fact that the more you end up working, the higher your expectations become.
Yes.
You make yourself available until 5:30 or 5 p.m., 5:30, 6:30 or something like that. People are going to reach out to you.
Yeah.
And then there's an expectation at that point that you have to meet up. And then the moment you go and strip that away from people, you just torn a part of that relationship from that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so you keep increasing those expectations. You're setting yourself up for failure at that point.
Yeah. And, you can take that on, but we've talked a little bit about this before, is set that expectation of, sure, I don't mind doing this on an exceptional basis, Yep. And there's nothing wrong to say that. And you don't have to charge for everything that you do, but setting that expectation can be very important.
It is. It is very important. And it actually kind of ties in with our third segment really well.
Okay.
And it's actually, because we were talking about expectations and stuff like that, the fact that although you can hustle and you can work your butt off like crazy, success is not guaranteed. And you're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah, true.
Stop creating your own unrealistic expectations.
Yep.
And everyone has unrealistic expectations, especially new graduates. And I was included. I got myself a bachelor's degree. I wanted to get paid $100,000 a year.
But yeah, I was similar to that too. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just waiting for the right job. And it took me a while. I'm like, hold on. You're not actually worth anything quite yet. You're close. No. You're close to being worth something, but you need actual, corporate experience.
Yeah, and you want to go and move up the corporate ladder and stuff like that. Well, you got to go and start. But at the same time, your manager can go and give that position or that promotion to the other employee or whatever. Yeah. And I've known so many times where the employee that doesn't work as hard will get the promotion over the person that works twice as hard but doesn't have a good relationship with the boss.
Right. Yep. Totally.
It's who you know, and that's the biggest thing. It's so important to build those connections over time.
I always tell friends if they're about to go for interviews, I always say maybe like 70% is just getting along with a person and saying, I'm going to be fun to work with. If you're at the interview stage, your qualifications are sort of already meeting their expectations.
I've said it to my girlfriend. I sound egotistic when I say this, but it's all on presentation and how you build rapport with people. But you're able to get into the interview itself and build a quick and good relationship with that person right away. You are building yourself a very, very strong case to get the job.
Exactly. And, if you're able to be likable and willing to learn.
Yes.
Because they don't expect you to know how to do the job.
No.
You need to learn that. So willingness to learn and being likable, and those are I think the two most important traits over showing off and saying, well, I have a bachelor's degree from here and a master's degree from a different school. I'm more of the school of thought that I should change schools between my master's degree and bachelor's in order to diversify my experience. It's like, yeah. Just no one wants someone who's high and mighty, be likable and learn.
Exactly. And one of the biggest things too, in regards to, drilling that in your mind that success is not guaranteed, is also the fact that people don't even take the time to define what success is to them.
Oh, yeah, true.
What is
Yeah.
success? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, I want to make 100,000. Well, how are you going to get it? Are you
True.
going to work 80 hours a week? Well, that's not going to get you $100,000 a year.
Yeah, that's a great
Your
point.
salary is $50,000, $60,000 a year. So
Yeah.
why are you working 80 hours a week? Oh, well, that's going to increase my chances. Will it though? Are you
Yeah.
taking the time to build those relationships? If that's the case, then yes. You know what? I have had nights where I've worked long hours. I've
Sure.
had nights where I've worked until 9 p.m. And it was actually with my boss and one of my coworkers, and I actually built a bit of a stronger relationship because of it.
I kind of
But-
like those nights. Those nights are fun where you stay late, you work, you just crack down, you loosen all the formalities a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not done every single night.
Yeah.
It's not the expectation to be doing that.
Here's an interesting one about teamwork and chemistry working together. There's a movie called Animal House where
Okay.
it was the two fraternities, and they had the one fraternity had everyone came a week or two earlier and they partied together, they had fun,
Okay.
and then the other fraternity they all showed up day of production. And you could tell there's a chemistry between the one fraternity versus the other, who are just sort of acting but like clunkily around each other and stuff like that.
Interesting.
And you can generate some of that with those late nights, and there is a case for it to be done where it can be productive. Staying late.
Yeah, exactly. As long as you don't make it a habit, because you don't want to go and put your life to work either.
Yeah, and like you said, set a smart goal on
Yeah.
how you'll achieve your targets.
Exactly. So now that we got that put away, we got to talk about our 4 ways that you could avoid, or 4 ways that you could hustle in a safe way.
Yes.
The first thing is to pace yourself and build valuable connections along the way. Go to work events, go to seminars, go to get to know your bosses, your supervisors, your coworkers on a more personal level.
Yes, true.
That'll
So true.
help out so much. Like, how many times have you seen on LinkedIn, we'll connect with the HR manager and start to get to know them? Why, like, once you got the job, why do you stop there?
Yeah,
like,
it's true. It's true.
You got to go out of your way. Go and get to know them. They like my boss. He's no longer my boss. He moved on to a different department. But during that late night, we got to figure out that he was a massive Raptors fan. The Toronto
There
Raptors.
you go.
I am a
Yeah, and
huge
you
Toronto
are too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we just spoke the entire time about it. And
Yeah.
I actually, there was an event that happened last week that I attended. My girlfriend and I. He was there, and he started talking about the Raptors with me right away.
Nice.
And that was awesome.
Yeah. And you're right. People always stop once they get the job, but it's like that's where it
doesn't-
starts.
Yeah, that's literally where it starts. Exactly. The next thing as well that's really important to do is to learn to disconnect. Like, if you're able to go and do exactly what you have, like you have a work computer and you have a work phone, go and hide it. Literally go and put it aside, so out of place, out of mind. Especially when we work from home, a lot of people have a hard time from disconnecting because their work is literally at home.
Yeah.
But if you like, that's why I put the parameters on my phone itself. I don't unfortunately have a work phone, but I don't get any emails or I don't get anything that's going to be that's worthwhile outside of work hours.
Yeah, no. And by having that, I mean, it gives you peace of mind too,
Exactly.
When you're always on, it's stressful. Very stressful.
It is. It is very much stressful. And the best way to go and manage that stress is by defining the hours that you want and defining the goals that you want to achieve. Build yourself a plan and get yourself what is your end goal? What exactly does your end goal look like? And at least build your work plan around that. So you're not stuck working day in, day out with no plan in sight until another opportunity comes on your lap.
I like what you're saying, and I think a lot of what you're saying too is to take control.
Yes.
Take control of your situation, and don't let it be dictated by others. Which actually brings me to the quote of the day.
Okay.
Do you remember who we're quoting this week?
Dwayne.
Dwayne himself, The Rock Johnson. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, just so we're clear. Yes. So here's what The Rock says. He says, you either play the game or let the game play you. And that speaks so much to taking control and setting the boundaries and you know, you put in the work and being able to dictate how you're going to do things and set those expectations.
Yep.
Lets you be in control of the time. If that boosts your confidence, it boosts your confidence and competence.
Yep.
And it lets you steer the way that you want to go, and you need to go as well.
It actually ties in so well with our last point in regards to this too, because I was going to say, like, steering the ship, learn to also build boundaries with your coworkers, so they're aware of your workload. And that when they go and ask, so there are some coworkers who will pile things on back to back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
And when instead of just asking you, they're basically just telling you, "Hey, I got this. Could you do that?" Like, they're volunteering you to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I had those issues too, where I expressed it to my boss at certain points where I was there, and I'm like, I am swamped. Like, I can't take this on. Like, or,
yeah.
And I totally understand what you're going through right now, and I agree 100%. So if you're able to go and stand your ground, but not stand like in a disrespectful way, but make people aware of what you're actually dealing with and what you're going through. Steer your ship through, and at least be able to be reasonable, yet show under people what your expectations are.
And there's a way to do that with a way that makes sense for the business as well.
Yes,
I was told most recently by a coworker. She said, you know, if something isn't working out and that you think it might be a waste of time, give that recommendation. Say, I think this project is a waste of time, and I think it'd be much better if we replace it with this project, where it would bring us to this timeline. I think we'll get, you know, we'll hit a wall at this point in this project anyhow, and for that reason, I think it'll be a waste of time. By presenting it like that, you're talking in the company's interests. You're setting the game, and you're playing it.
Yep, I agree 100%. And there's nothing wrong with speaking up as long as you're being fair with what your points are. If you don't have anything on the plate and they ask you to go do something, and you do your job, man. Yeah, you got to do your job.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're being overworked, there's times to stand your ground. There's times to stand your ground.
Well, and advocate for yourself. You know. You don't want to betray yourself and volunteer more of the time than you have to.
Yes.
And there's times to do it where you can be an advocate for yourself. But if you're being swamped, no one's going to stand up for you better than yourself.
Exactly. Awesome way to end today's episode there, Will. That is episode 137, The Toxicity of the Hustle Culture.
Wonderful. That was another fun one.
I'm glad you liked it there. And with that being said, my name is Owen Paradis. I'm here with my co-host, William Goulet. We're proud to present to you the College of Wealth podcast. Peace.
Two fingers, peace.
This has been your daily dose of motivation with the College of Wealth podcast. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to leave us a positive review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you for listening. And until next episode.